Okay, been on our little mini-series called Conflict Resolution. We said it's not if we have conflict, but when we have conflict. We're in a very conflicting world, aren't we?
Amen.
I got to deal with your stuff, I got to deal with my stuff, and I got to deal with the devil's stuff, and that's a full-time job right there. So conflicts will come, and so we need to learn how to resolve conflicts in a healthy way that build up the kingdom and not tear it down if it's important to you. Romans 12:18 says, if possible, as far as it depends on you, be at peace with all men. Paul says right there, it's not okay to have unresolved relationships, that it's our job to do everything we can to bring harmony and peace to the best we can. And so one of the tools that we've been using that we talked about last week is called the bombshell theory. Go ahead and put that up there, brother. How many, you might not have one. Everybody got one. Well, we call this the, go ahead and just bring on up. Keep going. All right, keep going right there. All right. Anyway, we call this the bombshell theory because it's, to me, I don't think it's a theory. I think it's more of a principle. It's more of a fact. And when it hits you, it's like a bomb dropping on you. One of those moments of clarity where you go, Lord have mercy. I remember hearing about this at Dunklin, and I think it was 6 or 7 years later before I started really looking at this, and all of a sudden some lights went on, and I said, man, this is really good right here. This is what recovery is all about. It's about taking ownership. So the bombshell theory is a tool that will help us learn to deal with conflict, but it's primarily going to help us learn to deal with ourselves. It says three things. One is it says, I cannot change another person by direct action. I cannot change, control, dictate a person by directly trying to change them. How many of you ever heard somebody say it's, well, when they get married, when we get married, they'll change. That's like being in total fantasy. You heard me say, going into marriage, you go with both eyes open, and once you're married, it's one eye shut. But you're never going to really change somebody. The only way you're going to really change somebody is by really turning them over to the Lord, letting go, letting God, quit trying to be their Holy Spirit. Let God be God, let God work, and let God do the changing. But either way, somewhere for a person to really change, it's got to become their idea. Okay? You heard me say that a mind convinced against its will is of the same opinion still. So it is what it is. People are the way they are. So I can't change them by directly trying to control them. However, I can change myself. I can stop focusing on them, and I can draw a circle, and I can stand on it, and I can take control of me and my issues and work on me. I don't have power over you or anybody else necessarily directly, but I do have power over me. I can make choices, and I can change if I want to change. So I can't change others by direct action. However, I can take ownership of myself and change me. And it says that as I withdraw and I go over here and I go over to the mirror and I start looking at me, quit worrying about what they're doing, and I start looking at the logs in my own eye, looking at my own character defects, my own issues. I do a healthy moral inventory of me. I stop doing their inventory. I do my own inventory. I thoroughly examine and analyze and sift through all the stuff that I need to work on. As I take ownership of those things and take it upon myself to really start changing, then an amazing thing happens. As I pull away and start looking at me, this person has a tendency to look at what's going on with me, and then amazing thing is they start going back to their mirror. They can't blame me anymore now because they see me genuinely changing. They see me really trying. And when you see somebody really taking ownership and really trying, how can you fault them for that? I mean, anybody that's trying to do better and improve their life and trying to do the right things, you're going to be merciful. So some people you just can't change. They're like trying to teach a dog new tricks. And they're not going to change till they want to change. But what it says right here, the bombshell theory and principle is if I will shift my focus from focusing on them, quit being their God, and start being responsible and take ownership of me, that the other person has a tendency to change in direct proportion to my changes. As they see me take ownership, then they start taking ownership. This Mexican standoff we're in begins to dissipate, and then as I'm changing and they're changing, then we're able to come back together and to resolve our conflicts in a healthy way, and we can start moving forward, like in a marriage. And this is probably one of the biggest problems in marriage today is you're still focused. You get married because you're thinking this marriage is going to do all these wonderful things for you, and you're already setting yourself up for resentment. Expectations, false expectations, are just resentments waiting to happen. And so when you're focused on trying to change that other person, then and you're in that self-righteous spirit where you're thinking everything's their problem, and it may be their problem. But trust me, there's always something you can be working on. There's always something you can take ownership of. And so an amazing thing happens when you begin to quit trying to change them and you start loving them from where they're at, and you just start finding something positive to build into them, invest in them. When you start encouraging them, loving them, accept them unconditionally, and start working on you, there's an amazing thing that happens. That thing, God starts changing you, so you're not worried about how you react and respond to them so much because you've changed. And when that happens, as they see your change, they start changing. But when you truly change, they don't bother you so much anymore. I know people in my life that used to just get under my skin, and I just couldn't stand it, and finally I just said, man, I'm going to have to be around this person, for example, so I'm just going to start praying. I'm going to really start saying, Lord, I can't change them, so how about changing me, my disposition, my inner attitude? Let me begin to have that agape love that you've shed around my heart, because I can't love them, but you can love them because your love's been brought on my heart. So teach me. Teach me how to love. Give me your love. Teach me how to get into their head. Teach me how to get into their mind. Teach me how to get into their heart. Teach me how to cultivate them. Teach me how to do it, because you know them better than I do. God loves me and God loves them. And God's trying to help them too. Instead of being a problem maker, start being a peacemaker. Bring God into the center of it, and start asking God to truly change them, but more importantly, change you. And as that happens, an amazing miracle starts happening. As you change yourself, then they begin to change their selves. Now, Galatians 6:1, let's go there tonight. You can go ahead and take that down. This is probably, to me, one of the biggest, most important scriptures when it comes to dealing with conflict. It's loaded with Greek, rich meaning. Whenever we have a conflict and we're trying to restore relationships that is broken, or when someone's in reaction and I'm in reaction, how many know when two people get in reaction, the Bible, Proverbs says that a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs it up and provokes it and makes it worse. But it says right there is a soft answer or a soft response. Somebody comes at me in flesh and they say something nasty, they say ugly, and they bow up at me in the flesh, and I respond in the flesh, then flesh on flesh gets flesh, and we've got a Mexican standoff and nobody wins, and the devil just laughs his way. When they speak to me in the flesh and I respond with a gentle answer, I respond in the spirit, okay, then it de-escalates the situation. They can't help but take a look at them. They can't blame me anymore because I responded Christ-like. They have to take a look at their un-Christ-like attitude. So in Galatians 6:1 it says, brethren, Paul is talking to brethren. Who's brethren? Brethren, he's talking to the church folks. Church folks, if you see anyone in your realm of a circle of people in any trespass, the word trespass refers to a trap. It refers to a sin or a trap, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a sin. It could be, some other issue that you see in their life. When you see somebody that, when the reason he uses the word trespass as a trap is when we're going along through the woods like a bear, you step in a bear trap, and next thing you're caught and you can't get out. And if you know animals ain't very bright, they start fighting, trying to get out of the trap. Instead of taking the time to get on the phone and call somebody to come take me out of the trap, they'll even gnaw their leg off. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And that's the way people are sometimes. Oh, no, stay away from me. They're like a hurt animal. Don't mess with me, and I'll work through this addiction, I'll do this, and really they need help. And it says when you see a person either in blatant sin, or they're caught in a trespass, and they're in, put it this way, they're in reaction. Let's flip it to our kind of a bend tonight to focus on being in reaction. It says, brethren, Paul says, if you ever see anybody that's in reaction, in other words, you get into a relationship, and a conflict happens, and this person gets in reaction, and they're letting me have it. They're caught in a trap, and I'm in reaction, and I'm caught in a trap. And, we both can't get out, and, it's kind of like the marriage. Have you ever been in a marriage or a situation where you really love the person, but you just can't seem to get along? It's like, man, I love you, man, but why can't we get along? And it's just like, y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, you have those things sometimes. So I can't worry about them and their trap right now. I can't go take them out of their trap, because they're going to bite my head off, because I'm still wanting to bite their head off. They're wanting to clobber me, I'm wanting to clobber them. So it says, hey, if I see a situation that's escalated and we're both in reaction, flesh on flesh, we got World War III, the devil's laughing, and he's got us all hooked. It says, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, each one looking to yourself, so that you will not be tempted. Passion Bible says, if you see a person like this, then you go get spiritual, and then the Passion says, then they will open up their heart to you. They will embrace you and say, okay, yeah, I know you care about me. I know you love me. I know you want me to help me get out of this trap, and it's okay. I know it's going to be difficult, but I trust you now, and I'm going to open you up and embrace you now, because I know you care about me. You can't have that attitude to let somebody help you when they're in the flesh, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you're mad at them. You're angry with them. You don't want to snuggle up on the couch. You're one to fight. So it says first, what you got to go over here and you got to take ownership. You got to go over here and get spiritual. You got to go over to the mirror and you got to get the logs out of your eyes. You got to deal with this offense. You got to bring forgiveness in and deal with that resentment. I got to get a clean heart. I got to get a clear eye. I've got to get out of reaction. I got to spend some time with the Lord. I got to process this thing. Get out my journal and say, Lord, I'm not going to worry about them right now, but here's what, talk to me. Talk to me. What did I do in that wrong? What am I doing wrong? How can I improve? I can't worry about them. I can't change, but I can change me. So help me, Lord. Show me how to go back and make this right. You know them. You know what they're going through. You know what I'm going through. So first, Lord, help me get my heart right. Let me get spiritual. And when I get spiritual and I clean up my mess, then it says that once I've got spiritual, it says that I can restore. The word restore means to reinstate or to return something back to its original condition. The Greek refers to somebody that's got in a trap and they've dislocated their shoulder and it's hurting them and they're holding it. They don't want nobody to touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. But they can't reset their own bone, but they need help. So they got to go find somebody that knows what they're doing, someone they can trust, and then they allow that person to reinstate or restore, or to get them out of that trap and to reset that broken bone. Even though it's painful, you're able to come alongside and say, hey, Just relax, bite the stick. We're going to reset this thing, bear with me, and boom! And then it's all over. Then you went from being their worst enemy to their best friend. And you just helped them. And they're going to love you for the rest of your life. The Amplified says, brethren, if any person is overtaken in misconduct, or is, let's say, in reaction, or any sin of any sort, you who are spiritual, you who are responsive. I love this. Amplified says, you who are responsive. It means you take ownership and you respond to your stuff. You who are responsive and controlled by the Spirit should set them right and restore, reinstate them, considering yourself lest you be tempted. So what it says right there, you need to be pretty humble about this, because take heed, let he who stands take heed lest you fall, because you may think, they're all that, but you could find yourself back in the same trap. Your judgment could have a boomerang effect and come back around. Next thing you know, the very trap they were in, you're in the same trap. And now you're the person on the other end of it. So it says be careful. So what it says right here, the key, is not to focus on them. This person's in reaction, they're in the flesh. So what it says right there is I need to withdraw. I need to go get spiritual. I need to get out of reaction. I need to ask forgiveness. I need to clean up my mess and get the logs out of my eye. I need to take a deep breath. I need to get the love of God shed around my heart. I need to care about this person. I need to pray and get prayed up. Lord, what do you want me to say? How do you want me to say it? Give me some wisdom. And then it says, then I need to go back and say, hey, can we sit down and talk? You were in a trap. I went in a trap. First of all, I went to the Lord, and the Lord showed me how I offended you, how I did it wrong. I'd like to ask your forgiveness, and I'd like to take ownership of my thing. I want you to know I care about you. Whatever it takes, I want to resolve this conflict. I want God to be glorified. Tell me what I can do to make this right. And if that person, they may say, it's about time you come back to me. You might do this, and they might read you the right out, but that's none of your business anymore. You've gotten spiritually, you've done that part. But most likely, if this person's even got the Holy Spirit living inside it, hopefully they've spent some time in the closet. If they're not, then they ain't walking much in a relationship with the Lord. So hopefully, when you come back to that person, that kind of response will have them take a look at their response, and they'll be waiting to almost overtake you. I've done this before with times, and it was so timely and so of the Lord that I couldn't even get right with them. I couldn't even get it out because they were already seeing my humility, and they were so waiting to get right themselves that they didn't want to even hear about it. And right then, shut up. You done won. And really, words at that point, it's actions, it's attitudes. So before I can restore somebody, I've got to get spiritual, and as I get spiritual, then hopefully they'll get spiritual. Amen? Amen. All right, tonight we're going to talk about something a little wacky. I told my men the other night, y'all, I'm going to practice. Okay, I'm going to practice on you guys. So I'm going to practice a little more. I've taught this before, but I've gotten a whole bunch of new stuff, and I think it's pretty good. But I'm going to talk, it's going to be called the Bombshell 2, but really, if we're going to label it, let's call it the process. We've got a real problem right now, potentially happening at the border, where we've got all kinds of immigrants wanting to come in our country legally. And our president has made it clear, and it's my position, that is, hey, we don't mind immigrants. How can we fault anybody that wants a better life? We want you to have a better life, but there's a process, okay? There's a legal process. It's for your benefit, and it's for our benefit. And we want you to come in, but we need you to go through the proper channels, the proper process, okay, to get prepared so that we can welcome you and we can embrace you. So tonight I want to talk about a little method or a process or a formula that I sort of use just about every day before I even get started. I get prepared proactively with the process. And if we care, then this process, I think, may help you tonight. So we're going to walk through this. It's a 4-step process that should lead to a healthy resolve. So the first thing, when we're having conflict, when we're in reaction, can't do anything about them. So what does it look like when I need to go get spiritual? What are some of the things? We said cleaning up our messes, getting our heart right, doing all those things. But there's another thing, a process, a method that I employ that helps me process through the heated argument, the thing that happened, the blow up, the explosion. So I've come up with some things that I think may help you, that help me about how to process things in a healthy way, so that I can then go back and make sure that I'm spiritual and that I can restore this relationship. So the first one we're going to talk about is truth. What's really going on? It's so easy for us to misinterpret the facts, misinformation. Then we're going to look at wisdom, seeing things through God's perspective, not my own perspective, getting insight. And then we're going to look at hearing God. The key of the whole Christian life to be successful is ultimately to listen to what God tells you and then do what God tells you to do. And then the last stage is going to be the follow-through, which I call meekness, which is about following through with Christ-like character. I can know the truth, I can have wisdom, I can hear from God what to do, but then not have the character to follow through with it. Are you with me? I remember one time, I was in a relationship with somebody and we were trying to get along and we just kept blowing, and every time this person started talking about this, man, I got hooked. And I went into that thing saying, I'm not going to get hooked, I'm not going to get hooked, I'm not going to react, I'm going to be spiritual, I spend time with God, I got prayed up, but when it come down to putting my feet to my faith, I still wasn't at the place where my heart was clean enough, where I was humble enough to be able to respond, and I got hooked again. Next thing I know, we're back in the same exact place. So we can know what to do and we can want to change, but because of our character, our lack of character, our lack of humility, and our pride, it makes it impossible. So let's take a look at the first one tonight. We're going to take a look at truth. It's the word Elahia. Turn with me to 1 Kings 3, 5 through 14. Elahia, the truth, refers to what's really going on. So, you're in a situation, they're in reaction, you're in reaction, you both have got it to here, and you got no idea, you have no idea what's really going on. It's one of the first things you have to de-escalate yourself. You got to get still enough, you got to be able to see the truth of what's really going on. And it's 1 Kings chapter 3, starting in verse 5. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream at night, and God said to him, ask whatever you want. Boy, how would you like to have God show up and say, hey man, just ask me whatever you want? It's almost like, that's got to be a trick question. For real? Well, for whatever reason, ask what you want. Basically, the NLT says, ask what you want and I will give it to you. At that point, boy, that's a wide open book, isn't it? Man, if God asked me that, I'd read out a whole Santa Claus list. Verse 7, skip there. It says, now, O my Lord, he goes through his little talk and just, does his little shucking and jiving thing. And he says, Lord, you have made your servant king. You made me king in place of my father. David's died. He's gone on. Now I'm the king. Yet I am but a little child. One version says I'm just a lad in wisdom and experience. I don't know how to go out and I don't know how to come in. In other words, he's saying, man, can you picture him? He's just a young man. I don't know. Does anybody know exactly how old he was? I think he was like 22 or something. He's watched his father David and this great king, and all of a sudden they passed over all the other brothers and everything, and now Solomon, he's sitting on the throne. He's king. He looks out the whole kingdom and he says, man, I'm in charge. I mean, at first it may hit his ego, but then after that it probably hits a lot of fear and says, man, I don't know what in the heck I'm doing. I'm in way over my head. I'm just a little lad. He says, I know me. I'm terrified. I don't know how to go in. I don't come out. I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to begin. So he says, he says, Lord, so this is what I'm going to pray. Give me, your servant, an understanding heart. Heart is talking about our character. He says, give me an understanding heart and the character to be able to follow through and to judge my people. Give me an understanding heart to judge your people, to discern between good and evil. Help me to discern, to be able to judge or make good decisions between what's right and wrong. For who is able to judge this great people you've put me in charge of? And it was pleasing in the sight of Solomon and asked this thing. And then verse 12 it says, behold, I have done according to your words. Behold, I have given you a wise and discerning heart, so that there has never been anyone like you before you, and there'll never be anybody out. In other words, I'm going to make you the wisest person that ever has existed on this planet. And then in verse 29 of chapter 4, don't go there, just listen to me. It says, now God gave Solomon wisdom, and he gave him not just discernment, but gave him very great discernment, and he gave him breadth of mind like the sand that is on the seashore. Solomon's wisdom surpassed the wisdom of all the sons of the east and all the wisdoms of Egypt. One version says it was exceedingly great wisdom that was so vast that it couldn't even be measured. Now, a very similar story, don't go there, is 1 Chronicles 1:10. Let me read what he asked. He said, ask what you want. And he says, give me wisdom and knowledge that I may go out and come in before my people. For who can rule this great people? So basically, Solomon asked for four things. He asked for truth. He asked for discernment. The ability, the character quality to be able to judge. I'm going to be having a lot of people coming to me. I'm the king. I'm going to have to make decisions, and I want to be a good leader. I want to be wise. I want to help people. I want to be the leader. I don't want to just, he never even asked for money. Matter of fact, God told me, he says, because you've asked these things, not only am I going to give you that, but I'm going to make you the richest man that ever lived too. So not only am I going to make you the wisest ever, but I'm going to make you the richest. No man will ever have as much as you'll have. Solomon was the richest person that ever existed, and he's the richest person that will ever exist based on the economy at the time, I guess. So basically he asked for discernment, and he asked for wisdom and understanding, and he asked for a hearing. What he basically was saying is for hearing heart, or to be able to hear you, and a hearing heart. Heart refers to character, the meekness or the gentleness to be able to follow through with it. I mean, I can have truth and I can be wise, I can hear from God what to do, but I not have the character to follow through with it. I still, can't apply all the stuff that I processed. So this is the little equation that I feel I have. So let's look at the first one. The first one is the truth of what's really going on, discernment. First thing we need to do is we need to get all the facts. John 8:44 says that the devil is a liar, but not just a liar, he's the father of lies. Liar, liar, pants on fire, as the kids would say. He's the father of lies. He's the kingpin. He's the best at deception, twisting things, perverting things. He loves to get into our head and twist the truth. How did God really say? He loves to get in there and do all this thing. And so easy when we're in reaction, we can get hooked up into his lies, and we can respond or get reaction based on misinformation or limited information or wrong information. How many have ever got hooked up into something and man, you're making a mountain out of a whole molehill for 3 days now. You've been laying in bed replaying the tapes. What did he say? And let me get that down correct. And you're over here recruiting this person because you're offended. And man, you've been going through this thing based on your perception of something you heard them say. Come to find out later on, when you go to let them have it, you find out that, what are you talking about? Where'd you get that? I was sitting in my office right here one day, and a pastor came into me all like busted through the secretary, was ready to come to my office and started ready to let me have it, and I could see his mid-lip was quivering, and I caught myself, and he started saying, I heard you say that, I heard you say that, I heard you did this, and I said, where did you get that? Where'd you get it? I said, I never said that. And it de-escalated the situation because it was a lie. But he was a pastor, and he was basing information or wrong information about something I said, and it was getting ready to restore a great relationship. I had another pastor one time, a couple of years after some situations happened, and we were talking one day, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I'm real friendly. How you doing? And you could see he was kind of looking at me like this, and I was kind of thinking, oh, is everything all right? And blah, blah, blah. And finally, he let the cat out of the bag and says, well, all's good, but I don't really appreciate the restraining order that you took out on me. I'm like, what? I said, I've done a lot of things and don't remember them. I mean, I even ask my staff sometimes, but I'm pretty sure I would remember if I took a restraining order on you, because first of all, it takes money to get a restraining order, and you have to go to the courthouse, you got to sign up for it, you got to go to court, you got to stand before the judge and get a restraining order. Where did you get all that? I said, did you even read the restraining order? I said, go back and read the restraining order and find out who signed it. That's who took the restraining order, not me. But for 2 years. I think, to be honest with you, because I think he preferred to hold a grudge against me. I mean, I don't think he necessarily wanted to, because I think there were some other things that were involved that I had no control over, that it was what it was, and I think this was just something he could hang on to, But either way, it de-escalated the situation. We talked it out, and we got to kiss and make up, and today, we're in a pretty good spot. So first of all, we need to find out the facts. Joe Friday always says, stick with the facts, man. I don't need all the drama. Just tell me exactly what happened. Tell me the truth. Because we can get caught up into our head and buy into all this misinformation. Next thing we know, we built something into my mind that's not even true. Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is good repute, if there's any excellence, anything worthy of praise, let your mind dwell on these things, or let your mind thinketh or meditate on these things. How many know what we focus on, we feed? Devil shoots a fiery dart, and it hits you, and you don't pull it out. Next thing you know, that poison's going down through you, and next thing you know, you're feeding that thought. Yeah, what did they mean by that? And then you think about it some more. You're chewing, you're dwelling on it, and next thing you know, you're going, yeah. Next thing you know, the devil's got his arm around you and says, yeah, and also this, and also this, and also this, and now you're dialoguing with the devil. And now you find yourself dwelling on it. How many know the mind is a bad neighbor? You don't want to go there alone, dwelling on something. How many ever dwell on something, you just can't get it out? It's like a pink elephant back. Don't think about the pink elephant. But you can't quit thinking about the pink elephant. This word dwell means to settle down and to dwell. The actual word, if you trace it, is the word incubate. Just if you're going to think on something, get out of the stinking thinking. Let your mind dwell. Let it incubate on things that you know to be true. Don't buy into something that may not be true. Believe the best of the situation. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, lovely, of good repute. Anything that is that, let your mind focus on the good things. Stick with the facts. Stick with the things you know. And if you can't find out what the facts are, then you need to go find out the facts. Who's Who dat? Stick with the facts. Second thing is we need to get a clear eye. This is one that's just, this is just a little thing that the Lord showed me one day. When two people, when this person knows, this person says something, he for whatever reason, it's like an arrow that pushed the button. Okay? Maybe you're very good at not getting a reaction. You may be, but trust me, the devil knows your weak spot. He knows your Achilles heel. He knows exactly what arrow to fire, when to fire, and how to fire. He knows how to get between your armor. He'll study, he'll watch you, he'll wait, and study till an opportune time, and then he'll pounce on you and try to take you out. I was away on 2 weeks. Man, I never read so much, I never prayed so much, and man, I was just in the Holy Ghost, praying in the Spirit. I came back, and man, the devil didn't go on vacation with me at all. Usually he goes with me on vacation. Isn't that a bummer? Takes everything from here and takes it with me. So I left him at home this time. Took Jesus with me, okay? But anyway, I come back, and Monday is my day to fast. I'm fasting, I'm praying in the Spirit. I'm sitting in my chair, everything's going good, and I'm still thinking, man, this is, and I don't like to think negative, but it's like, I know the devil, this can't be making the devil happy. As a matter of fact, I don't see anything going on, and man, it wasn't 30 minutes later, some thought, I'm actually going to the bathroom. Okay? And this arrow comes flying and it hits me. And I knew when it hit me, it was a stinking thinking. I knew it was wrong. I just had that sense of discernment. This ain't of the Lord. But either way, it hit me. And I left it in my head just long enough for it to start paralyzing me a little bit. Then the devil came right along. He was ready. As soon as he saw me not pull it out right away, he jumped on it. Next thing you know, I'm chewing on this thing. I'm reveling on this thing. And next thing you know, I'm believing the what-ifs, the negatives. And man, I've built up, and I'm fighting and fighting. I go back to my chair and start praying in the Spirit again. I'm bringing thought. I'm doing it. But the game's on, man. Okay, it's on. You talk about the evil day. The evil day is the day the devil waits. The Bible talks in Ephesians about being prepared for the evil. The evil day is the day where the devil throws everything he's got at you, man. He's throwing boomerang, hand grenades, and shotguns, and M16s, and AR-15s. He's calling in the bomber. The evil day is when he throws everything you got because you're such a threat to him. Well, I knew it was one of those days, and I knew it wasn't going to be just me. It wasn't going to be. He wasn't just going to walk away. He'd been after me. He was waiting, and the game was on. And to be honest with you, I'm still dealing with the effects of that. Now I've gone through and I've processed it. I've stick with the facts. I've been journaling, and I'm getting better and better, and I'm hearing the Lord, and I'm getting out. But I think pretty much what I bought into is nothing but a bunch of hogwash, a bunch of nonsense. But He knew just how to get at me and get me in there. So what happens sometimes when somebody says something to us, we get in reaction, and it's because of what I would call these filters. Bear with me here. This person says something, it's just a natural thing, whatever, but as it starts coming into my head, it goes through fear, insecurities, intimidation. Then it gets to the pride. Then it gets to offense. And then it gets into my control issues. And all my giants come up. I don't care how much I'm aware of them, how much I beat them down, but the devil knows how to trigger you. He knows how to get you in action. And the way he does it is he brings up these character defects that are unresolved in you, and you filter things through these. And so before I can discern clearly, I've got to get a clear eye. Now listen to what it says in don't even know if I got this one up here. Anyway, Luke 11:34. It says, the eye is the lamp. Lamp's the Holy Spirit of your body. When the eye is clear, your whole body is clear and it's full of light or it's full of truth. But when it is bad, your body also is full of darkness or deception. What does that say, verse 35? There. What does verse 35 say? Someone read it to me. Anybody reading the Bible?
See to it then that the light within you is not darkness. 35.
Okay. Therefore, make sure the light that is in you is not actually darkness or deception. If therefore your whole body is full of light with no dark part in it, it will wholly illumine. And when the lamp illumines with its rays. So what it says right there, it's kind of like what I said before. It's hard for me to go back to this person and say, brother, let me take you out of this trap. Let me get the particles out your eye. Let me deal with the splinters when I got this big old log in my eye. It's crazy. I can't see clearly to help nobody because I'm in reaction, my character defect, my fear, my insecurities, my pride, my stinking thinking, my control issues. And this is what was happening with me. The Lord began to deal. I asked the Lord, I said, what's feeding this thing that's going on with me right now? And the Lord said, first of all, it's fear because you're afraid of the outcome of what might happen or may not. And the second thing is the fear is causing you to be out of control. I like to have things tucked in. I like to be in control in a healthy way. But the devil knows how to throw something at me that will cause me not to be in control. So the devil uses it for evil, but God uses it for good. This is God's way of helping me learn to deal with my fear and my control issues and my pride, my own stinking thinking. So he thinks so this is why I've got to see what's really going on. What's really going on is unresolved issues are being triggered. The devil's trying to get me to overreact and quit praying and quit fasting and quit reading the Word. He's wanting me to get discouraged and go sleep it off and quit and throw in the towel. But the Lord's trying to use it to benefit, to get me to learn how to deal with things, to get more better, to learn how to resolve conflict, how to get healthier, how to grow up and mature and to be a great and better leader. So first, before I can go back to this person, I've got to get my log out, my log of fear out. I got to get my log of pride out. I got to get my log of offense out. I got to get my control out. I got to get a clear eye, and then I can see what the Lord's saying. How many know when we're reaction, it's pretty hard to hear God? When I'm in my pride and I'm offended, man, I'm not, I'm wanting to medicate on my offenses. I'm wanting to recruit people. I'm not at a place now. I've been triggered. I'm in reaction. I'm mad. I'm in the flesh. And we don't want to ever confront something in the flesh. So this is where we got to get spiritual. So it says first, go get the logs out of your eye. Get the things that are hindering you from hearing and seeing. Let the dust settle down. Detach from the situation. Get into the presence of God. And when the hurricane settles down and the things escalate, you'll begin to settle down. The flesh will get down. You keep praying, you keep working, you keep journaling, trust me, and then the Lord's going to show up. And the Lord's going to help you to deal with it. Lord have mercy. I was thinking we were going to finish this tonight, but anyway, we got 1 of 4 done, so I guess if you want more, then you'll have to come back next week. Amen? Amen. So what's really going on? You got to get discernment, you got to get the facts, and you got to get a clear eye. Amen? Amen. All right, we'll see you next week.